neon pink. And I'm not a neon pink person. I'm just not, I have to like get real with myself. I'm not a neon anything person. Hi everybody, welcome to episode 58. This is January Dye Project. Welcome to 2022. This is our first episode of the year. I am so discombobulated because everything's different and this isn't how it's supposed to look and things aren't where they're supposed to be. So hopefully we'll take some time between next recording session to figure out how we're going to shoot here for a few weeks while the weather gets real cold because I can't go in the sunroom today. It's like 40 degrees and it's too cold for me. And next week it's going to be in the 20s, so it's definitely going to be too cold for me. So I don't feel right in this space, so it's harder to be feel like I'm doing anything if this space isn't right. Different table, everything's weird. I don't like it. It's making me very uncomfortable. Anyway, forgot what I said before, so now I have nothing to say. Yeah, so I guess let's just get into it then. I am wearing Bonjour by Espestrico, written as the pattern. And like I said, I don't like that the collar comes so far down. It does not keep my neck warm at all. Which was like why I made this thing in the first place. So yeah, we should probably discuss that. I'm working on a small redesign of this, and I'm using this Audine Wool's Sleek that we used for a top. Remember, this is alpaca. And I wanted to use this because it's so much easier to frog than mohair. And I wanted to see how I'm doing a different increase. That's supposed to be virtually invisible once you block. It's called the KLL Knit Lifted Left. I think it's also the lifted increase, left lifted increase. I'm not quite sure. But the make one, it has you make one in the original pattern, and I didn't like that because you could totally see where they were. On this, you still can. Like, if you're looking, I can tell where they are, and it irritated me, so I was like, let's look for something a little bit more. So all I did here was I shortened the neck, and also what I did was I did 2 rows of 1x1 rib on the first 2 rows of the rib. I mean, first 2 rows of the neck, I did a 1x1 ribbing just in case that would help it not roll. I don't know if it will, but once it blocked, like it already is, so it might once it's blocked. I also thought having because my whole problem is that this is humongous, so I wanted to cut it in a little bit so it wouldn't be so huge. And I know that's going to result in the rest of the fit being different. So what I did is I just took it like this and wrapped it around and, pinned where those stitches, and then I counted off to see how many I could do without. And then I worked about 3 inches. I worked about 3 inches. And then I increased to the number of this was, and then I just continued the pattern. So it's like the same but different. So I'm hoping the fit will be similar to the to this, and still, because I put this on and it's, I mean, it's pretty stretchy. I use the backward loop. I think it's a backward loop twist. I don't know. It's in my recommended viewing. There's a lady just silently doing this, and that is the cast on I have always used since I saw that video. I use it for everything because it never twists. You literally cannot twist it because of how it is. You can't twist it. And it's very, very stretchy. There's not, it just is so stretchy. And you just use the same needle you're using. You don't have to use a different needle or anything. It's my absolute favorite cast on. That's where I'm at with this. I have one more increase, and then we'll see what happens. If this works, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one I was planning on doing, burgundy with a black. The burgundy mohair with just plain black skein that I dyed. Okay, for our stash project, I haven't even started this yet. Because we're doing a stash project every month. Stash, dye, and stash project, dye project, crochet project. So this is another Aldine Wools Calm. This is the colorway's Epiphany. It is 80% wool, 10% silk, 10% mohair, DK weight, 231 yards, 100 grams. So this is going to be one of my tops, the DK weight top. It's a pretty blue. It's like a heathery blue, and I don't mind it, so we're going to go ahead and do blue. Mostly because I don't feel like over-dyeing it. We're just going to make a top, but it's, what did I say, mohair? 80% wool, 10% silk, 10% mohair. So it's real soft. I like it. So hopefully that will make a nice top. Remember the like 5th attempt at a sweater we're at like now? I did the October sweater by Caitlin Barthold or Barthold. And it is a top-down raglan. The smallest size was a 38, and the gauge was 15 rows or 15 stitches to 20 rows, and I got 15 stitches to 22 rows. So I was like, oh my god, we're good. And because I have the extra 2 rows for 4 inches, it'll be longer without me even having to do anything. So great. Okay, so y'all, I have some problems because it looks great. Actually, I'm gonna put this on for you, so hold on. I don't like getting dressed on camera or taking things off on camera. So here's my thing, right? Looks great. However, this is like a 38. It's a little bit too much here. And I thought like, okay, the back's great, you know, because it's supposed to be up in the back. And then y'all, like, this is the neckline. This is the neckline before blocking. How big, how much, seriously, does this need to have this much? Like, look at this. Does it need to have this much? I can fold over and put my entire thumb in here. Does it need this much extra fabric here? So here's my thing. Hold on. I'm absolutely so mad about it, okay? So, like, I did, like, the 30 to 38. I thought 38 perfect because it's 3 inches of ease. That shouldn't be too big. It should be, you know, a bit of a relaxed fit, you know. So you lay it down here, and this should be half of 38, which is 19, and it isn't. I don't remember what it was. But the actual neck, this is so wasteful with yarn. Like, seriously, I was running out of yarn and I'm like, how am I running out of yarn? Why is this so big? Why does this have to be so huge here? Why does this have a neck for a giant? And look at, like, seriously, once I block this, what in the world do you want to see the picture of this sweater? This is how mad I am about this. I'm not even kidding. I'm so mad. Look at that neck. That's not a boat neck. That is a crew neck. Look at that nice crew neck. And she's wearing hers with like 7 or 9 positive ease. So I thought, well, 3 will be perfect for me because looks like she's wearing a size too big almost, right? How come I can't get you to focus? Look at that crew neck. That's a crew neck. That is a crew neck. That is not a boat neck. So again, another sweater that doesn't fit, that's getting frogged, and I was on gauge. I had gauge, guys. I don't know what the problem was. I had gauge. 1522 to 1520. Like, I swear to God. So I decided, there's this improv by Karen Templer, where like you make your own, and she tells you how to make a v-neck. Just gonna picture the v-neck, but it's like this. Like, you measure stuff, and why does nothing wanna? But anyway, because this can do a v-neck, I'm going to do a v-neck. I just decided I'm doing a v-neck because that's what I really want to do. So I'm pretty sure with the v-neck, because you're working across, I think that gives you the build up, the neck builds up part, which is what I don't want a circle where there's no front and back, because then the back of my neck's going to get cold, and I don't like the back of my neck getting cold. So I want something that's going to come up to my neck. And she talks about that in her thing. So that's why I'm going with that one. And I already have my stitch gauge because I have that. So I might shoot for a smaller size. Maybe 38. It's just too, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, because I actually got gauge on that one. I was like, that's why I chose that sweater, was because I had met gauge, and I was like, oh, it's a crew neck, but it's not like a strangle you crew neck. So, but while I was making it, the neck, like when I tried it on, the neck was so open, and I'm like, this seems like rather large. And then I'm like, well, what do I know? But that did not seem like to fit like a. Do I just have a weirdly shaped body? I don't know. It could be, because typically I need the smallest size. And, like, I can't wear women's sizes. Women's sizes are too big. So I'm stuck in junior sizes. Which is why I like to make my own clothes, because the junior sizes, sure. I mean, the sizes are fine, but then you are stuck with what's trendy, and when you're in your 40s, you don't want to wear what's trendy. So plus, where am I going to find a wool sweater in juniors, right? I can't wear a women's small, it won't fit me. So anyway, I'm getting like fed up with the not being able to make a sweater. Like, I make these tops. I made these tops to fit me. Is that like I'm good at making stuff that fits you real well? This came out fine. This came out fine. Why does this? Well, this is not entirely one size, because it actually had a small, medium, large. But if it's skin tight, I can make it fine. And then if it's, if I want just a little bit of positive ease, it has to lose its mind and be 8 sizes too big. So I don't know what I'm doing. Am I just picking? Oh, and the thing is, I was looking through later that October sweater. She used Lion Brand yarn, which is acrylic. So I'm like, well, of course, acrylic on that neck is not going to do that. But I haven't even blocked it. It already did that. I'm like, I'm not blocking this. I'm not even going to bother because it's going to be 8 sizes too big. And it's not going to fit. It's going to fall right off my shoulders. So I don't know why sweaters are so hard for me. I don't understand what the secret is. I don't understand what the secret is. I don't understand why I can't make it work. I really don't get it. Anyway, yeah, those are the 3 projects, 2.5, really 1 project I have going right now. It's just the cape, the Bonjour. I'm just going to do that till it's done, and then I'm going to start our dye project this weekend probably, because it's Wednesday, so that'll be done probably to the cape. The Bonjour will probably be done tomorrow or the next day. So the weekend I can cast on the what we're doing with dye project. So shall we go right into dye project? I'm going to have nothing to do. This is going to be a short episode. Every time I say it's going to be a short episode, I end up wasting so much time and it's never a short episode. Okay, so welcome to January dye project. Before we get started, I wanted to show you the the double layer hat that I've showed you. This is like 3 times. Oh my god, you can't see it. This was done last dye project. This is the MCN sock that I dyed for my husband, and we got resists from the figure 8 ties. And so this is the completed hat. So he wears it like this. This is the completed hat. And he wears it all the time. So if you want to see it better, because you really can't see it in here, last episode, yeah, because December, the 2021 wrap up, or the one right before that is when I finished it. So there are 2 episodes. You can see that way better. Okay, for this month's dye project, we were doing 2 skeins of MCN high twist sock, which is it's a base from Mold to Dye For. It is MCN, which is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 400 yards to 100 grams. It is one of my favorite bases. It is my favorite base if I don't need too much yardage. So for cowls and stuff like that, if you've got more than one to make a shawl, the 400 yards is like just not enough to do something. So that's where so if it came in like a 110 gram or 115 gram, maybe it would be perfect. Just for a little extra, an extra 30 yards would be great. So one of them, oh my god, they already have cat hair all over them. One we did black, just jet black. This is actually ProChem. This is 4% ProChem black that you can't see at all. Can you see? I mean, it is pretty black. Except for, the bits of hair all over it. Now, I did get a couple spots where, it's mostly right here, we had some resist, some little white bits of resist. which I was going to cover up, and then I, said F it, because who's got that kind of time? But I mean, overall, I think I just needed to have a little bit more water. It's only in one spot, which is like makes it even more infuriating. But I don't know that I see a lot of difference between this and Dharma's. Hang on, I do have some black. This is the same base. That I also dyed. This is with Dharma's True Black, and I'm kind of wanting to see them on the same base. And wow, yeah. You really can't tell at all. So, like I said, if you're using Dharma True Black at a high enough percentage, 3, 4, 5, you're gonna get a good black. But anything under that, you're gonna get some purple. And the ProChem doesn't do purple. It's black. It's gray if it's not black. So, I think I am going to switch to the ProChem just because that is more versatile for me, because I also do a lot of grays. So our second color, I wanted to do a low contrast color. So I wanted to do a burgundy, a very, very dark burgundy, and I did. And it came out gorgeous. And I wanted to have very little contrast because we're going to do the garter snake cowl, which is garter stitch and brioche, 2-color brioche in the round. And I wanted to have this mostly black with, so can you even see the difference? Mostly black with a little bit of, this looks like Tina's Twisted Fibers has a color called Cherry Brandy, which is pretty close actually to what I got here. I mean, it's kind of hard to see because the base, there's a high twist in the one base, but we got pretty close. I think mine's a little bit darker. So what I did was I did this over 2 days. The first day I did 0.5 grams of Dharma's Cabernet, and then I speckled black on it and I let it dry, and the next day I didn't like it and I said, I don't like this. What do I do? I'm like, should I go back to doing my own burgundy? Should I try again? Should I just... I mean, because no matter what I do, I can over dye this black because, of course, I'm going to need another one. I'm always dyeing shit black, right? So anything can be over dyed black. It doesn't matter to me. I'll just dye it black. But I was like, I really, really want a low contrast burgundy to go with this black. Like, I want something dark, but that will still be color. I think it's a little bit more purple than I wanted, but it's hard to tell in these lights. But I mean, it's a color I can wear against my skin with my skin tone, and it'll be fine. So the next day, I was like, really don't like this. What should I do? So I decided to put another 0.5 grams in. So I put way too much water in the pot, like an inch from the top, because I was like, I just want it as solidly dark as I could, because there were parts of it that were really light, like a pink, and I was like, I want this as dark as it can be. And I didn't really care if it was that tonal, like I wanted it. So this was a total of 1 gram. You could have done it in a single process. I don't think the speckling with black was necessary. I did the speckles a little bit different. I used, if you watch Rebecca's, what episode was that? Hold on, let me get you the actual episode so I can send you to her. Okay, if you go to ChemKnits Tutorials Dye Pot Weekly number 337, dyeing heavy speckled yarn with a spice jar, she has a link to the spice jar she used, and I did exactly what she did, only I did black. And I like the coverage. The problem I had was I used my catering pan has a steamer pan, just a steamer pan over the thing, and I used that, and I don't think that's as good as I have like a pot, like a pasta pot that has the steamer in it and then a top, like for the stove top, and I think that does speckles way better. So normally what I do is I'll soak this in some acid water, and then I'll squeeze it out, and then I'll speckle with the dye and citric acid, and then I put it in the pot just to be steamed. And for some reason that gives me better speckles than you'd think, having it laid out in a steamer pan and speckling it that way. And maybe if I was doing more than one at a time, that would work, but I really was not impressed with the speckles that I got. And I'm not sure it was necessary, because I wanted actual clear, concise speckles, and there's really not any. This is 1% Dharma's Cabernet, and I have some thoughts about it that are not the best. It's an okay color. It's a little too purple. It's a little too purple for me. I think I'm going to go back to making my own burgundy because I like my burgundy, and I'm just going to mess around with giving it just a hint of blue. But I really feel like this is a little too purple. I liked it in the 0.5%, but then it wasn't as dark. I probably should have just put some black on it to darken it up a little bit. My real problem with the Cabernet is that it doesn't exhaust. Number one, it does not exhaust. So I had 0.5 grams in water, let it go, left it overnight, because the next day I was going to speckle, so it could be wet. Left it overnight, still pink water. And I think it's one of those that just part of the dye just crashes out of solution, and that happens, and there's nothing that you can do. So what I did, again, I put the second 0.5 grams. The following day? Did I do that Monday maybe? I don't remember when I did it. And again, the water cleared, not all the way, to a pinky pink. You can still see the bottom. It was just pink. There was obvious that there was still dye there. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. So, and there's no reason that shouldn't pick up 0.5 gram or a full gram. It absolutely should. I put 4 of the black in the same thing, and that water was clear. So we know that the yarn can hold that much dye. That's why I'm thinking part of it has to crash out of the solution, and it just isn't available to make that chemical bond. So what I did is I squeezed it out, took it out of the water, and I soaked it in Synthropol for 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, maybe longer, I don't know, it's not like I really count. And and then I rinsed, and then I washed it again, and I rinsed, and it was still rinsing pink. So it just wouldn't stop. It just wouldn't stop rinsing pink until I went to ice cold water. I went as cold as my water would go, and it stopped. So here is my advice. If you know that your skein has Cabernet in it, I would really, you get it like this. The first thing I would do, unhank it. Put a, what do you call it, for curtain ring, shower ring for your curtain. Put curtain ring around it. Throw it in a bucket of water, and make sure that the bucket is a light color so you can see what color the water turns. I would use ice cold water, to be honest with you, because you don't want to disrupt the bonds any more than you are. But me as a dyer, I like to wash in a warmer water with soap just to get rid of anything that's not, I don't want to send you home with that, basically. So I get rid of as much as I can. So when you get home, this is what I would do. If you have a color similar to this, because I don't know if other colors do this, Dharma. Mine that I mix with black and deep magenta and some blue, does not do that. It doesn't, the magenta doesn't run like that. So this is what I would do. Cold water, as cold as your tap will do. Put it in a thing, let it sit for a little bit, and then I like to do this when it's in the water. Or take your thing that it's in, if it's in water, and I do a little rocking, and then I look at the water, and I go, is there pink in there? Then pull it out. Why is there's something going on here. Pull it out. Give it a squeeze. Dry it out. If you are seeing pink, that's okay. That means that do not use that with a lighter color. Okay, use it with a darker color. I'm using this as black, so it does not matter if it runs because it's not going to ruin my black color. Then, when you're blocking it, make sure you use wool wash, because wool wash has a different pH than dishwashing liquid. And if you see, I would probably throw a splash or two of vinegar in it, because that's going to lessen, it's gonna mess with your pH values even more, which is going to not disrupt your bonds. Basically, you want more acidic water. Acidic water is not going to disrupt the bonds, the chemical bonds. Now remember, being in cold water with acid is not going to set the color in any way, because you need heat and acid. But also at this point, I don't think you're going to benefit at all from reheating the yarn if it already was like this was reheated twice and still crashing it. Like when I had this in before I put I put it in the pot, cold vat. I start with cold vat. I put this in without any well, not cold, it wasn't ice cold, it was like lukewarm. So I put this in the vat before I had put any dye in, and it was already leaching pink out. So I'm like, so it obviously didn't set the color because it was still crashing out of solution. So I don't know what makes it, because it's on here now. I've already done the Synthropol. Synthropol should have taken out anything that didn't bond correctly, right? That's what Synthropol does. but it was still bleeding after the Synthropol. So I'm not sure what makes a color bleed. Some, I know reds do that, which is why I don't use reds. I use magenta. So just be careful with these colors if you are a burgundy person. You can still work with them. Just be careful how you're working with them. And if you're getting crocking, which is something totally different, crocking is when like the combination of your sweats and the dye is leaching onto your skin. That's crocking. That's not what this is. That has to do with the pH of your skin and the dye. So this might crock. I don't know, because one thing doesn't really have anything to do with the other as far as I've been able to understand. Mostly crocking happens with blue jeans, but because blue jeans haven't been washed or haven't been washed enough. But I know, and plenty of other knitters know, that this can come off on your hands and your needles while you're working with it. That's crocking. So I don't know how to stop that, but that would give me a good indication that I might have to be careful about the pH of my blocking water. So I would err on the side of acidic for that. And you don't need a lot, just a little splash, because your tap water should be pretty neutral. So any little bit is going to turn it. You don't need like a 1, a 2, 3 pH. You just need a little bit, just to turn it from neutral to acidic. And don't worry, because when it dries, it doesn't have the smell, so it'll be fine. I'm going, see, what I typically do when I block is I do my water ice cold. I do my water ice cold, and I put a little Euclid in it. I usually do 1 pump of the unscented and 1 pump of the lavender. I used to like the jasmine. It's too heavy scented for me anymore. I don't typically like soak because they don't use descriptive words for their smells, and I am a very smell person. Like, I have a super sense of smell, and so I'm really sensitive to what smells I like. And I wash these all with ivory soap because it's clear. Like, if it's for the shop, I use the 7th generation that's clear. And then if it's just for me, I use ivory soap because it's cheaper. So I like the smell of it. So I tend to not use soak because they're like celebration. Like, I'm like, that doesn't tell me anything about what it smells like. So I typically go for unscented or lavender or some other, not grapefruit. I think that's the only other one Euclid has is a grapefruit. I haven't smelled that one, but I'm not a fan of grapefruit. So, what was I talking about? Cold water. Oh yeah, I put my Euclids into pumps, glass amber bottles with a pump, because I use them so much. Like, because their tops of their thing are ridiculous, because then it spills and you're like, and I don't like, so I just pour them all into bottles. What was I talking about? Oh, I block cold water, 1 or 2 pumps of wool wash, and I completely cover it, make sure everything's covered in it, submerged. It doesn't have to be floaty, just as long as it's all soaked in. And then I leave it there, and if I'm using ice cold water, I'm leaving it there till it comes up to room temperature, because I don't want to stick my hands in cold water. So that's how I block stuff usually. Why is half of this out of the frame? This is what we're doing. Garter snake cowl. It is half garter and 2-color brioche. Okay, so the main color there is going to be black, and then it's cool though, because they're both reversible, so you could use either side. But I'm going to use the black side with a little bit of burgundy poking out. I have made that before, but I sold it because it was too pink. It was like, what's the word? Neon pink. And I'm not a neon pink person. I'm just not. I have to like get real with myself. I'm not a neon anything person. I'm just not. This is like this mint green, I think this is meant to be from Oink Pigments, if you're wondering about that colorway. For the pattern, you're going to have to wait until Malala is released, which is never happening, apparently. So anyway, have you noticed what we're missing for this month? Because we're missing our crochet project. So it was going to be the blanket, remember? The dog blanket. We're not doing the chunk cape. And that's because of how I'm planning to change it. I'm planning to steek the sleeve slits and other things. What I'm going to do in the next couple days is I'm going to frog that sweater and recake all that yarn, and then I'm going to try that one I told you about that I can't remember. That's basically make your own custom raglan. I was going to do the magic custom raglan thing, but none of that math made any sense, and it was the first thing you had to do was find your neck circumference, and it didn't give you any indication of what that should be if you did not want a crew neck. Because like my neck circumference is like 16 inches, and I was like, well, I don't want a 16-inch neck. That sounds awful. I don't want a 16-inch neck. But I think that pattern was based off the pattern that I originally found. And she has her own stitch counts throughout the thing, because she kind of like made one along with you, even though not really. It's kind of like a written out tutorial, which I don't need because I know how to make a raglan. Like I understand how you do the increases and stuff like that. So it's not like a difficult concept for me. My problem is that I don't understand fit, I guess, of how I want things to fit and how I expect them to fit. I don't really care about the sleeves because I have my own ideas on sleeves. Sleeves are just a tube, like that's not hard. And I always have to elongate the sleeves, and I pick up extra stitches around because I don't want holes. So I'm always messing with the stitch count of the sleeves. I'm not worried about that because I can figure out how I want the sleeves to fit when I see how the rest of the thing is fitting or how I want it to fit. And then I work them down to this bone. I work it till it hits this bone. Yeah, there's a bone right here. So when I hit this bone here, I stop with the stocking knot, and then I work like 2 inches of ribbing. And I learned that from, I think, Taylor Owen, because she said, you're going to lose 2 inches when you bend your arm. So if you work your sleeves that way, well, she didn't say to this bone, she said to make sure you get your sleeves where you want them and then add 2 inches. So I want mine like, this is like bracelet. I don't know. I like them to be like right here or a little over, you know. So like this bone's a good indicator for me. Because she said when you bend your arm, you're going to lose 2 inches of your sleeve. And that's how you get sleeves. That's how you get sleeves fit if you have ridiculously long arms for your size, and I don't like shorts. I don't like I either like no sleeve or a full sleeve. I don't like cap sleeve, the like here short sleeve, or the 3/4. No thank you, because I think how it feels on my skin I don't like. Maybe, I don't know. So probably Monday I will start that sweater, because I want to get going on the cowl. I want to get that cowl mostly done, because the sweater is something I can work right through. I worked right through that sweater. I don't even know when I started, but I worked right through that sweater. There was no part that I had to put down like, oh, this is too hard. No, I could keep going. Like at night, it didn't matter. But I think when I get the cowl done, the garter snake cowl, I don't think that's going to take me more than the weekend, honestly. And then my Bonjour will be done, and we'll block that, see if that works out. If that works out, then my sweater, I'll start Monday, and that will be my 9 to 5, I just call it 9 to 5 project. And then the second Bonjour with mohair will be my nighttime, and then the top will be my bedtime knitting. And we'll just go there till the end of the month and add what we need to, which means I have to come up with the crochet project by next weekend, right? Because then that gives me Monday through Friday next week of having those 3 going, and then that weekend I'll do a crochet project. Okay, here's the thing. Next week, because remember, changing the dye date changed our entire schedule, which I have not worked out yet. I schedule the entire year. I'm not kidding. I schedule the entire year depending on where the dye project is. That dye project day tells us when we're going to record a dye project episode. So that day sets the whole rest of our calendar. So that's how I know if we have, and like next week we have an open episode. We have 2 open episodes in a row. Like I said, next week I'm planning, I think tentatively it will be planning next year, and I'm gonna have stuff that I can show you. So when I go, okay, here's where we are this year, it'll be in the thing like I did before, and you'll be able to see it. Because I really want, now that we're not doing shawls, now that we don't have a million shawls to take over this year, we can get back to planning and stash busting, and that's really what I want to do. There's a lot of stuff I want to get done this year. I wish I was in the place to do a sweater every month. I think that might be what I'll be able to do next year, since I'm having such a hard time doing sweaters. But I really do want, that is a goal, that I want to make a sweater every month. So maybe next year we can do that. I really, really, really want to do that. I don't know why I'm having such a problem. Like, I don't know what my problem is. I don't know why, if I'm just picking the wrong projects, if I'm, picking bad patterns, if I'm picking bad yarn, like, I don't know. Like, do I want to see, like, I'm so inspired by RO Knits and Pearls. Like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it, because it's like, because her stuff's all like pink marshmallows, okay? But like, this mohair with fingering weight is like ridiculous, and I want it in everything. But like, she makes such intricate, like with cables and bobbles and color work, and I'm like, no, I just want black in like different so like I could have the same sweater just in different fiber content. Like that's all I want is different fiber contents, but all the same sweater. So ridiculous. Like this pink one. Can you see this is pink yet? Can you see the pink? Okay, so like the burgundy one looks just like this, but it's burgundy. It's like so ridiculous. And like the good stuff I got. This Hill Country Weavers, that's the alpaca silk cashmere. I just want to dye that black and put it with some Surrey and use it to do one of these. Like, I'm not even kidding. And the camel, I want to do the same thing. The camel silk, I want to do mohair silk in black. And so I have the same thing, just in different fiber contents. But they'll be exactly the same, and they'll both be black. And that's literally what I want. Like, my whole wardrobe, I want to be black with maybe little pops of color. Like, this is okay. I could wear this with all black and it's fine. You know, it's not, it's a little bit maybe too much color. I'd like it to have less color. Like maybe not so many, because you remember how that was in the ring where there had so many. Oh, this is a dye project too, wasn't it? Didn't we do this last? Yeah. This was last month's dye project, right? Yeah. Came out gorgeous. Absolutely love it. I just don't love that the neck is low in the back and low in the front. So hopefully I can take care of that. I haven't weaved in any ends because I'm going to, as soon as I fix it and it's how I want it. See, I still have stitch markers in it for counting stitches and stuff. And drop stitches. I'm going to redo it to be what I want. So, okay, I guess that's everything since I'm now overtime. But since I coughed all the way through the beginning, this is going to have to be really heavily edited. I don't think I did anything funny either, did I? So, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you for joining me, and thank you for, spending your time with me. I hope you learned something. I hope you get something out of Dye Project. It is by far my favorite episode to do. I love sharing with you the process and the dye, and as always, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If you want to learn more about dyeing, I have some links below to other channels I recommend. Chemnitz Tutorials, Frost Yarns, and Bunny Ox, Crafty Bunny Ox, Oxford Bunny Oxford Craft something. So with those three words, I can't remember what order they're in, but she's fun. She's a lot of fun. She's more, she still tells you what she's doing. Just, I don't think she always has a plan, which is fun. It's fun to see what I just like to watch, to see what she's doing. See how the colors work out or what technique she's using, but Chemnitz is probably the best if you want to learn to dye. She has literally hundreds of videos on how to dye, which is why I'm not doing that, because she's telling you everything I would tell you. So, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye.